Good evening and welcome to news. I'm Salmata Jalloh. Coming up in tonight's edition of news, President and his backroom opens Women in Leadership Conference in Freetown. Police crackdown on commercial bikes in the Central Business District. And the National Electoral Commission declares Saturday 9th July as a date for parliamentary by-elections in constituency 1 and 15 Kailan local districts. All the stories and more within business and sports news are lined up tonight. For our first story this evening, the streets of Freetown were relatively quieter today, with many people attributing it to the restriction of commercial bikes in the Central Business District. The Minister of Internal Affairs last week held a meeting with the executive of the Commercial Bike Riders Union, the Road Safety Authority, and the police in order to rid the CPD of commercial bike riders. The riders have angrily reacted to the restriction. Does it mean for commercial bike riders and passengers? Umubaka visited was that junction where she saw the views of bike riders and passengers as well.
I'm a bike rider.
So what the money are you for?
Well, right now today, so what's on plan? What's on today? No fine. I go block say don't know ride bike. Because they want to pull it. That's how they for it. But bike will pull and they will ride. And they want somebody feeding people. And somebody sending people to school. But if they say don't ride, don't even go to talk. Don't listen, don't even talk. What's the maker? Somebody, it lies in the bike, it lies in itself. It show everything, get element, everything. That's why not go ride that song. Okay, don't come on that song. You don't go to corner back. Say police at the fire. What's the one now? Let them tell me what you want. Who don't die? Who don't die? See the one is not more than left power. I'm part of country. I'm not the kind of power now. What are the cops and the country? You know what the nobody wants. Nobody wants. What the kind of power? What's the game?
Good night, name. So, tell me what happened.
Well, I come on this morning, I take a bike, I go along Victoria Street. Victoria Street, there's two policemen to bike. They run after me. They left run after me, I reached them by Victoria Street. I gave me one taxi man, the taxi man.
After that, I caused problem,
the taxi hits me. My drag, and in fact, I'm even on the shelf where I chair. From there, my foot is coming.
What did happen today? They don't cut out, they don't send the door. They run at the corner side, and they don't accept that. But look to that transport today, they forget to. Sometimes they only take 1,000 from here for pocket, there's not 2,000. Can you imagine, look at the population with the other, they use man they under. There's some of them are college and they will, so they don't get no money for them. They under. Now if they send me the stop bike, if they come back in the area them, I don't say they don't ride or maybe the government don't stop their own role constitution. But the majority of the other, and then you go for United, you go for below the other problem, they don't accept you.
I don't take back. But the problem today we don't get, we look normal now. Any way one go today, taxi, two-way. One go PZ now, two-way. Any way one bend today now, two-way. So we talk the bike, they let them show some certain side, they don't say the bike, they not for go. Now me do talk, we say no get problem because you say you get like you don't say no go so, no go so. But like that corner, like that at the street, then Secular Road, all now they say they join them. And we say for the street.
What do you want to How would they talk? Okay, right now, me, not tell you today, me, Mike, now they are the survive, me now student. I don't do it. Me name James Cover. Now they bike, now they are the payment. Now they this bike riding, now they feed their family there, now they pay their people to feed there. So they say they don't see bike.
They're not giving rights back for license bike there. They pay for or else.
Commercial bike riders and passengers reacting to the restriction of commercial bikes within the Central Business District. National Electoral Commission has declared Saturday 9th July 2016 as the date for the conduct of parliamentary by-elections in Constituency 1, Kalon District and Constituency 50, Port Local District. The vacancies occurred as a result of the resignation of the Member of Parliament for Constituency 50, Port Local District, Honorable Isata Kabia, whilst the vacancy in Constituency 1 in Kalon District occurred as a result of the death of Honorable Patrick James Foyer. According to a release from NEC, nominations of candidates for the parliamentary by-elections in Constituency 50 will be held on Thursday, 9th June 2016 at the NEC District Office 24 New London off Canby Road, Port Local Town. For Constituency 1, the release states it's on the 9th of June at the NEC District Office, Gale Compound, Malemba Section, Kalon District. The deadline for political parties to submit the list of their endorsed candidates for the by-elections according to NEC is Tuesday, 7th June 2016. The candidate's nomination fee for the parliamentary by-elections is 10 million per candidate, the release concludes. Transco CLSG has established a local committee in Kenema District that will be monitoring and sensitizing people of the district on the operations of Transco. The ceremony also saw the launching of the information and sensitization campaign of $400 million Transco project into Loma community in the Kenema District. Daphne Kimo-Macaulay reports. Tiloma Village is the first community that was declared free from defecation by the United Nations Children Fund in 2008. The $400 million Transco CLSG project is going to trans electricity from the Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone to Guinea. In transmitting electricity from Côte d'Ivoire to Sierra Leone, the Tiloma village will be affected as most residents are going to be relocated as well as compensated. The campaign of informing and sensitizing these residents on the relocation and compensation has started. Most of them believe the project is good and vow to support it, as it will also bring electricity to them and Sierra Leone as a whole. Preceding the launch of the information and sensitization campaign, a workshop was held in Kenema to launch the local committee, of which is Jenny Bakarama, the regional director east of the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children, was elected as chairperson of the committee. Close to 20 community members of the local committee have been installed with the responsibility of monitoring and sensitizing the people of the activities of the project in the 7 different affected districts of Sierra Leone. Pakidama Kulina is the environmental specialist for Transco CLSG project. He said all the 440 people in all 38 houses affected will be adequately compensated according to their properties worth.
Transco need your support, your technical support, your advice. You will work closely with our assistants, social safeguard and environmental assistants, and closely with the National Monitoring Committee. We will make efforts to give you any necessary things you need, any arrangements your job need to make sure that you will follow the ESMP and the RAPA in the field in this district.
Honorable Permanent Chief Prince Mambo Pewa of Lagorama Chiefdom urged all Permanent Chiefs and stakeholders to support and monitor the project.
I tell all my company Paramount Chiefs them where they want development in this country. We for compliment the effort of his HE when we own president in this country. Because any development where they come with, it not they bypass we. If they involve the Paramount Chiefs them. Why did they do that? You know, say we they very close to the people there. And with people themselves, they very close to we. We they listen to people there, themselves they listen to we. This light business where they take come from Ivory Coast, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Guinea. Do you any Paramount Chief where this line they pass now you chief down? May not make it difficult.
That was the Honorable Paramount Chief Prince Mambupewa of Lagogama Chiefdom, Kenema District, calling on Paramount Chiefs to monitor the Transco CLC committee projects. Transparency International Sierra Leone has held a stakeholders dialogue to discuss emerging issues surrounding corruption in the country. The forum aimed at discussing the issue and reach at possible ways to address it. Eric Laibangura filing this report for NewsHour.
Emerging issue of corruption and reaching a way to address corruption. The head of Asset Declaration Anti-Corruption Commission, Madam Zainab Uthman, said the Asset Declaration Act has 3 approaches that deals with income, assets and liability, which requires every public official to declare his or her asset upon acquiring office and when leaving office. She added that after the bill was enacted, her institution distributed 50,000 copies of declaration forms and only 27,000 forms were returned in 2009. She said the act enables both the Commission and the public officials to be transparent. She called on civil society organizations to sensitize public officials on the asset declaration and to solicit the cooperation when the verification process would have started. A representative from the civil society organizations, Alhaji Mohamed Warisi, said asset declaration is significant because public officials are holding huge sums of money that should be paid into the consolidated fund. Senior Program Officer Transparency International, Edward Kuruma, said as civil society organization, they recognize the fact that the fight against corruption is a collective effort by all Sierra Leoneans. He encouraged participants to contribute meaningfully and come up with relevant suggestions that will be useful to address corruption in the country.
The Environmental Protection Agency, Office of National Security, and the National Tourist Board have held a forum with the people of Aberdeen on the need to protect the Aberdeen Creek. It could be recalled that the Aberdeen Creek over the years has come under uncontrolled encroachment by land grabbers, whom sometimes encroach without valid documents. The Aberdeen Creek is a wetland which makes it fall under areas that are to be protected according to the Ramsar Convention, to which Sierra Leone is a signatory. This forum took place at the Aberdeen Community Center. Sheku Sumaila has more.
The Aberdeen Creek for years now has been an environmental concern for relevant stakeholders in environmental protection. The cutting down of mangroves, which used to be breeding ground for seafoods, has posed a serious challenge to not only nutritional status of citizens, but also ecotourism, which will contribute to this country's foreign exchange earnings. The environmental aspect is that the mangroves can also prevent flooding. Assistant Head of Information, Education and Communications, EPA, Abdul Conte, explained the importance of Aberdeen Creek to the Aberdeen community and the country. He said the creek used to have many species of birds, monkeys and other touristic attraction, apart from it being breeding ground for fish and other seafoods. He told them that Sierra Leone is a signatory to the Ramsar Convention, which calls for the protection of all wetlands, the Aberdeen Creek being no exception. He said by protecting the creek, they will be also protecting their own lives and property.
Salmata as a country, you say yes, you said protect for join this convention and let people protect their wetland. So what is protection mean? We will not forget plenty the mountain. They will not for building, parking and building, and well, all the mangrove will be. And that's a particular protection mean, because when we don't destroy them, so you know we will get nothing for protect.
Deputy Director of Disaster Management, Office of National Security, Nabi Kamara, said government has plans to relocate those who have encroached on the creek, but that only those legal papers will benefit. He said government is concerned about the safety and security of all and cannot sit by and allow people to continue to live in enormous danger.
We get key message
governmental institution will go as to waiting this mama and papa government all put together for make we na Aberdeen no go inside water too much. And the one them where get opportunity where go show some amount of documentation for say okay at least place go for them somewhere.
Head of Operations, Aberdeen Police Division, SP Brahma Kane, said it is the duty of the Sierra Leone Police to protect the people. He reminded the people of Aberdeen of the September 16th floods, which caused disaster in the city, adding that they are ready at all times to give EPA and ONS the required support. Village Chief Aberdeen Vidal Kenik said they are ready to comply, but that government should find a suitable place to relocate them. He said they have even been proactive in planting mangroves along the creek. Emotions went high when community people started expressing their concerns. Almost all of them residing along the creek are without correct documents for them to be there. So if like what was pronounced by the ONS representative that only those with papers are going to be relocated, then many will be victims, as was explained by this young lady, Emma Kamara.
You suffer because you want side for the door. Sometimes the side where you rent and also suppress you. You see service clinic on and a government gets a government that you want me, and my mama and my papa. I know what the advantage. The guy can't develop. He build, he not get better. So if government already for sorry for we as citizens them, as we are the beginning, let them not look for paper, let them continue for sorry.
Most of those who spoke said of their children are no longer going to school because they cannot afford to pay, since they were evicted from the Tambakula Wharf. However, experts in environmental management insist that there is urgent need for those living in disaster-prone areas to be relocated to protect lives and property, especially so now that the rains are here. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheku Smaila.
The United States Treasury Department has issued sanctions against Hezbollah financial networks in the Gambia, Lebanon, Sierra Leone, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Angola, and the British Virgin Islands. The United States Treasury Department targeted Hezbollah's financial network by designating Hezbollah fund raisers Ali Tajko and Hussein Tajuddin for providing support to Hezbollah. If it is confirmed that these people named a link to welcoming investors affiliated with groups such as Hezbollah, this will no doubt stain Sierra Leone's image as a nation. As a developing story, colleague Daphne Zana Kamara takes a look at the issue and visited the office of the president of the Lebanese community in Sierra Leone, Samir Hassanieh. She started by asking, what did he make of the list?
Well, I've read it. There are certain people on that list that I know their names. Okay? I don't have a clue about the activities with Hezbollah. The gentleman whom they call his name Haj Ali Ibrahim is married to a Sierra Leonean lady. He has lived here all his life. He has a plastic business at Sopit. We'll say plastic buckets, this and that and so on. Understand.
So what do you make of the other people, especially those, that the one that was mentioned that has a business, Tajko Limited?
Tajko, they used to have a company here, but now Tajko no longer exists. You can find out nobody's operating on a Tajko anymore. What they did, what happened, I don't know. But I know that Tajko, they're not operating here.
Do you think that maybe they have changed their names? Because report states that most of the Lebanese, because they don't have a good record, when they come into a foreign country, they change their names so that people don't identify them.
No, I'm not inquired about that, but I know that Tajko. I'm not
don't you think this
Fawaz is in Nigeria, he's not here. We don't know Fawaz here. He's in Nigeria.
So don't you think this has a tendency to create distrust between the Lebanese community and the Sierra Leonean people?
I don't think so.
Why?
I don't think so, because as far as we are concerned, we are monitoring the situation here. We are monitoring the situation here. We know who is coming here. We find out about him, what he's doing. Like this guy that I called you just now. He's married to a Sierra Leone, as I told you. He has a small business at Sopit, called Ecowa Street. Ecowa Street, no Ecowa Street, Malamatomo Street. Okay? He's been here most of his life. All right? The others, I don't know them. If you can call the names for me to refresh my memory, I can answer one by one if you want.
So do you have a record of all Lebanese people in Sierra Leone?
Of course we have.
So how do you, like you stated
And we have
earlier,
very good relationship with the American embassy as well.
and you said you monitor their activities.
Yes, we monitor.
What if they tell you they're doing this and on the side they're doing other activities? Do you have a way of knowing what they're doing?
We have our own intelligence services here. We are the Lebanese community. And we will not allow anybody to jeopardize the relationship between the Lebanese community and the Sierra Leone community. You know, other people. We are watching the situation very closely. They tend to say Lebanese here, some of them are Hezbollah, because they are from the south of Lebanon. Okay? They are from the south of Lebanon, and whenever Israel attacks south of Lebanon, the people are killed, houses destroyed. But the people that are here, they've been here, the fathers, the grandfathers, they've been here before. It's a continuation. Okay, no new ones have come here to do business. As I told you, this chap, Haj Ali Ibrahim, he's been here all his life.
Okay. So tell us, what do you know about Hezbollah?
Hezbollah, I mean, if you study the Lebanese situation in Lebanon, Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese government. They have members of parliament, they have ministers in the government of Lebanon, and at the same time, there are many, many embassies who have offices in Lebanon.
So are they a legal part of Lebanon?
They are part and parcel of the Lebanese government.
So why is...
When the cabinet of Lebanon meets, you have Hezbollah ministers sitting with the Prime Minister of Lebanon, deliberating on matters pertaining to Lebanon. They are part and parcel of the Lebanese government. Hezbollah, you cannot hear anything about Hezbollah terrorizing people in Europe. You cannot hear about anything about Hezbollah.
So you're confirming to us that Hezbollah is not a terrorist?
If anybody has heard that Hezbollah has done anything, there are problems with Israel. You understand? Because Israel occupied some of our lands. Okay? And there are problems with Israel. But I want anybody to point out to me, and I'll swallow my words, that Hezbollah has done any terrorist activities, except between Lebanon and they're not, they say it's not terrorism, they are fighting for the freedom of our properties, our land, which Israel occupied. But I challenge anybody to point out to me that Hezbollah has done any terrorist act outside of Israel and Lebanon, then you can call them terrorists.
So if they are a legal group in Lebanon, why has America sanctioned these particular names?
I don't know. I was born here. I've lived here all my life. I went to school in England. I hardly go to Lebanon. I went to Lebanon when the delegation went to Lebanon from Sierra Leone. I was with the delegation. I went there to further enhance the relationship between Sierra Leone and Lebanon. And my thanks and appreciation to His Excellency the President, the Vice President, and the Minister of External Affairs and Minister of Information, and everybody who went along with the delegation. Because this is the first time we're trying to promote brotherly relationship between Lebanon and Sierra Leone. And I'm very happy that the delegation went. And we are expecting delegations to come from Lebanon to here. We went there on the basis to invite Lebanese business people, not this Bobo Demo we get there. Lebanese business people to come and invest in this country, so that employment will be created and so on. We are watching the situation. It's our duty to watch the situation here. We don't want anything to happen in Sierra Leone. We are watching the situation. Myself, I'm not a Muslim Shiite, I'm a Druze. I'm head of the Lebanese community. I've been head of the for 17 years. You understand? And my duty is to make sure that the relationship between Sierra Leoneans and Lebanese in this country goes from strength to strength. That's my duty. That's my duty. I love this country. This is my country. I've not lived in Lebanon for 3 years. Gone from when I was born till now. I've not lived 3 years in Lebanon. Okay, I came here, I went to school in England, and I came back. I've been here since 1961. I'm 72 years old. I'm not going to allow anybody to spoil the relationship between.
He is the president of the Lebanese community in Sierra Leone, Samir Hassani. The Legal Aid Board and the Minister of Lands, Country Planning and the Environment is to jointly address problems relating to land acquisition in Freetown. The decision was reached at a meeting with the Minister of Lands at a Yubilin office. The Executive Director, Legal Aid Board, Claire Carlton Hansels, informed the Minister that the board is dealing with over 500 cases relating to land acquisition and ownership. This, she says, requires partnership between the Legal Aid Board and the Ministry to look into problems relating to land acquisition to reduce burden on the courts. She proposed a consultative meeting with the offices of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Chief Justice, and the Sailing Bar Association. This meeting will look into issues of land grabbing, ownership, and verification to be determined by the Ministry and courts. The Minister of Lands, Diana Konomani, thanked the Legal Aid Board for the initiative, pointing out that our ministry is in the process of cleaning up the ministry. Some officials of the Lands Ministry, she said, are in the habit of giving fake documents to people, pointing out that our leadership will not condone such practice. The Service Department, the minister also said, is considered as the worst corrupt department in the ministry. Councillor of Ward 194 in Constituency 57, Koya Chiefdom, Port Local District, Ahmed Sheko Bangra, has commended the thoughts of the Chiefdom Isatu Portu Kamara for her concern for Ebola survivors and orphans. He was speaking during a special ceremony held at Moyoma village to remember all those who succumbed to the Ebola virus. Sheko Sumala reports.
100 people in the chiefdom succumbed to the Ebola virus disease, which has left many children orphaned by the disease, for which interventions must be made to provide for these children. They need to stay in school, their health taken care of. They also need shelter and clothing. This has prompted a daughter of the soil, a nurse of over 20 years experience in the United States of America, Asatu Pothu Kamara, to intervene so that the children will stay in school. During the Ebola scourge, she provided hundreds of bags of rice to quarantined homes and also, as a nurse, gave universal medical advice on Ebola prevention and control to her people. She has now come to have a database of all the Ebola orphans and survivors to continue her support to them. Clothing is also provided to communities in the Koya Chiefdom.
I just felt the need that in any situation where you lost over 100 people, especially in small villages like this, my constituency, which is constituency 57, the population is not that much. So during the Ebola crisis, if we lose over 100 people, I just feel that it's just too much. So that's why I came today and offer sacrifice in honor of those who died during the time of Ebola. There are several kids that don't have parents anymore, that don't go to school. I decided to help them. That's why we just built a school here at Mayoma. I plan to help build the structure and then supply books, pencils, and if possible, even uniforms to them.
This ceremony at Moyoma village is purposely to remember those who succumbed to the Ebola virus disease, as most of them were not given the fitting funeral because of the prevailing circumstance at that time. Special prayers were offered for the dead. Isatu Pothu Kamara said the Ebola orphans and survivors must be given the attention, as most of them are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorders. She called on the community people to give them all the support. Councillor Ahmed Sheku Bangura of Ward 194 in constituency 057, Koya Chiefdom, Poloko District, commended Madam Aissatou Potu Kamara for her concern for the people of Koya. He said Madam Kamara's contribution during the Ebola fight was remarkable, and that now that she has come to address post-Ebola challenges is a welcome idea, and they are ready to give her the support.
It's a blessing to us because this disease is a natural disease. Some people have died because of the Ebola through this disease. And I think His Excellency the President has made a tremendous effort to make sure that he halted this particular dreadful disease. It's a prayer, it's a very good prayer. And she's the only one that sacrificed her money and her effort to make sure that she came from America and also offered this type of prayer for our people.
The remembrance ceremony for those who died of Ebola is a right thing to do, he said, because most of them were not given the required or traditional befitting funerals. Other community elders also commended Madam Aissatou Potu Kamara for her initiative, especially in the area of helping to address post-Ebola issues. Reporting for SABC News, I'm Sheku Smaila.
The National Electoral Commission has signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Commission for Democracy on the monitoring of elections, collaboration of voter education, peace building around elections, and other components of elections. The signing ceremony took place at the National Electoral Commission head office on Town Hill. Judith Sana reports.
The collaboration between the National Commission for Democracy and National Electoral Commission in signing a memorandum of understanding which captured the collaboration of voters' education, monitoring, conflict resolution, hope to positively impact in ensuring credible elections. In the MOU, both commissions have agreed to undertake activities jointly determined to contribute to the achievement of promoting peaceful and political transition and good governance. They also agreed of developing programs that geared towards strengthening peaceful, free and fair elections. The executive assistant to the Chief Electoral Commission, Abu Toure, says the MOU signed at a very crucial time for NEC as they are operating in a very challenging calendar. He adds that the NEC calendar does not only limit to the reason to vote, but has included issues like boundary delimitation, which is already in progress. It calls on NCD to start with the public education on boundary delimitation.
This month, Mr. Commissioner, we are starting the boundary delimitation process. Now, so I want to encourage the NCD, as we sign this MOU, that they start coming along us so that we start to sensitize the public on the BD process. We are going to look at an MOU that is going to be all-encompassing. It's no longer the duty of NCD for just civic education. We're going to make sure that the MOU has captured the voter education aspect of our collaboration, the monitoring of elections. We are going to look at peace building around elections, conflict resolution, threat assessment, etc. It is a loaded component. So
the chairman, National Commission for Democracy, Dr. Abubakar Kago, says the collaboration is compatible. He says NCD will make consensus efforts to twine the operations of NEC to help enrich the electoral process as they continue to strengthen the pillars of democracy.
And I am convinced that we are on the right track as we contribute a quota to the democratic development of this nation. Very soon, the full import of what we are doing here today will be felt by the entire nation as we are determined to buffet the people of this nation with key messages that will help understand fully the very essence of the entire electoral process to ensure a change of mindset.
Dr. Kagwe expresses delight for the collaboration, noting that the willingness on the part of NEC to accommodate NCD is laudable and worth commending. The Minister of Political and Public Affairs, Madam Nanette Thomas, says the signing of the MOU between NCD and NEC is an important milestone towards the success of the upcoming elections, as it will create the level of collaborations between the two institutions and the states. She registers a commitment to work with the two commissions to create a difference in ensuring credible elections. Judith Sana, SLBC News Hour.
Up next is business news.
Hello and welcome to the business updates. Coming up, the foreign exchange rates. The USD buys at 6,137 yuans and sells at 6,159 yuans. Pound sterling buys at 8,754 yuans and sells at 8,935 yuans. Euro buys at 6,840 yuans and sells at 6,979 yuans. That's the foreign exchange rate courtesy of the United Bank for Africa, UBA. The National Revenue Authority, NRA, has put a robust monitoring of vehicles with Guinean number plate, as most of them are reported to be evading customs duty. To tell us more about the process, the Corporate Affairs Manager, NRA, Mohamed Bangura. Mohamed, good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Mohamed, first of all, tell us how bad is the issue of evading customs, especially with vehicles that have Guinean number plates?
Well, it's seriously bad, especially in terms of eroding the revenue base of government. Because what we've seen in the past is a number of vehicles coming from particularly Guinea, Liberia and other ECOWAS country, coming into Sierra Leone, other guys that they are coming for family visitation, they are coming to engage in marriages, they are coming to do funerals, etc. When in actual fact, their purpose for coming to Sierra Leone is for them to be regularized inside the system. Unfortunately, when most of them come, some of them forge documents, they take them to the SLRSC, and some of them luckily goes into the system and becomes a registered vehicle of Sierra Leone. And by doing so, they are actually evading the payment of import duties to our customs officers, whether at Balamuya or at Gendema Customs Post.
So those vehicles go through NRA registration?
Well, when they come to Sierra Leone, they give us an impression that they come in on a visit and they shall be returning after a couple of weeks or months. But after they would have completed their visitation, we see some of these vehicles being parked on car dealers' garage, or some of them actually being used by people, whether commuting passengers, they are being used on commercial purposes, and some of them we actually met them taking people from one place to another when they do not have any more time to be in Sierra Leone.
So what impact does that have to NRA? Do you lose revenue as a result of such activities of those people?
Well, Judith, in actual fact, coming with vehicles in Sierra Leone, when you declare that you're coming for the purposes of visit, when in actual fact you want to use it for your own private or commercial reason, is smuggling. And the Customs Act 2011 says if you do that, automatically you have to attract a penalty plus an interest plus the duty. Say for example, if you come with a Pajero, which ordinarily we are expected to pay 6 million or 5 million at customs. If we now arrest you, you will pay 6 million in addition to 100% duty, which will also mean another 6 million plus penalty or interest if you so desire. So instead of paying 6 million, you may end up paying 14 million or 12 million, as the case may be.
So what mechanism have you put in place to address these payments?
Well, presently we're working with the Sierra Leone police, the SLRSC, to make sure that we arrest and make sure that those vehicles or those individuals carrying Guinean number plates or Gambian number plates or Liberian number plates pay the necessary duties and penalties. So,
okay, thank you very much. He is the Corporate Affairs Manager, NRA Mohamed Bangura. We continue with another story. Sierra Leone has been ranked 4th in West Africa ahead of Nigeria, Senegal, Guinea and Liberia to do business. Lucian Ghana takes up the story.
According to the 2016 World Bank Doing Business report, the 13th in a series of annual reports, it measures the regulations that enhance business activity and those that constrain it. The report further states that Doing Business report also measures regulations affecting 11 areas of life of a business. 10 of these areas, according to the World Bank report, are included in this year's ranking. Starting a business, dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, registering property, getting credits, protecting minority investors, paying taxes, and trading across borders. The World Bank Doing Business report adds that it is easier to start a business in Sierra Leone with a global rank of 88 than in all countries in West Africa except Liberia and Senegal, of which rank of 37 and 85 respectively. In protecting minority investors, Sierra Leone is also the third best, ranking 88 behind Liberia. And while the report shows that in enforcing contracts, Sierra Leone outperformed Ghana by 11 points, Cote d'Ivoire by 15 points, Guinea by 126 points, Liberia by 78 points, and Nigeria by 79 points. In paying taxes, Sierra Leone also compares relatively better than Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria, and Senegal.
Well, that's it for the business. The expense transfer time. Andrew, so.
Well, with business, we wrap things up, but before we go to the main points again. President Anispa Kroma has opened Women's in Leadership Conference in Freetown. That story will be aired tomorrow. Police crackdown on commercial bike riders in the Central Business District. And the National Electoral Commission has declared Saturday 9th July as the date for the parliamentary by-election, so constituency 1 and 15 Kailan Port Local District. That's all the news tonight. Many thanks to the news editor Abubakar Bahura and the rest of the team. Issues in the news is up next.